Everyone, welcome to Zen Variety. I'm your host, Zachary Gedzinski, and today I'm actually going to be covering some entertainment news. You know, this time on Dungeons & Dragons. Here in this article from VG247.com, we basically have an article where so-called fans are calling for the removal of the term race from the game. Now, without further ado, I'm basically gonna read this article and comment on it. And this article is by CM Mayer, whoever they are. Let's start anyway. Dungeons & Dragons could be doing away with the term race in character creation, and fans are suggesting plenty of better alternatives. Okay, yeah. Before I continue any further, this isn't like the real world where doing away with the term race would actually be beneficial since there's only humans, but it's a fantasy game, for crying out loud. Gamers have been using it for years. But without further ado, back in June, Dungeons & Dragons principal rules designer Jeremy Crawford responded to a query about a yet-to-be-announced Dungeons & Dragons product. However, the tweets recently resurfaced on Reset Arrow, where players are having a lengthy conversation about ways to redesign the game in a fair and more thoughtful way. You can't be serious, right? I'm not a D&D player yet, but I would actually love to play the game someday just because I want to be a game developer. What these people are doing is whining about a game that they haven't played. But seriously, let's see what else this article has to say. You can check out the original tweet below, which is the first piece of evidence suggesting that Dungeons & Dragons might be removing the word race from character generation. Let's scroll down a little bit more so we can read that. The not yet announced product below still hasn't been announced. I'm excited for it. Hashtag D&D. And this is from Gooch the Goblin Lore Master, whoever they are, at Chris Perkins D&D at Jeremy Crawford. Is this product mentioned here Icewind Dale, or is it another a name still not yet announced? Was hoping to hear more about it at D&D Live. Later this year, we will release a product not yet announced that offers a way for a player to customize their character's origin, including the option to change the ability score increases that come from being an elf, a dwarf, or one of D&D's many other playable folk. This option emphasizes that each person in the game is an individual with capabilities all their own. Here's the thing though, if they're gonna strip everything that makes all these playable races unique, just to make them another generic run-of-the-mill human-type character that is nothing more than just a power gaming mechanic, then what's the use? It sounds utterly stupid. It's a bunch of bullcrap, and yes, just gonna say that this tends to dip into political territory, so please understand if there's any political leanings that come into this video. Okay, the product Crawford claims he is excited for is quoted in the text he is replying to and reads as follows. Later this year, we will release a product not yet announced that offers a way for a player to customize their character's origin, including the option to change the ability score increases that come from being elves, dwarves, or the other playable races, which is gonna emphasize their in-person uniqueness and stuff like that. And seriously, I think it's more like Wizards of the Coast is trying to kowtow to the woke crowd to get brownie points while also stomping on their loyal fans. Like, come on. Most of these people that are complaining about this type of crap probably only had exposure to Critical Role and probably don't even bother differentiating the real world from a game. Like, seriously, how stupid can these morons get? Because all in all, people like me want escapism in our content. And as a potential customer in the future, after I get through all the schooling and other stuff that I have to go through right now in my life, like, I would definitely want to dive into this game in order to play it, learn how to DM it, and also get into the game design aspects of this wonderful system. Seriously, why do SJWs have to ruin everything, for crying out loud? But let's finish up this piece, shall we? A Dungeons & Dragons fan responded to Crawford's reply with a tweet of their own saying, "Notice the word race isn't used. Is Wizards of the Coast looking to exchange that word with another, perhaps more accurate word? I feel species captures what it really is better, but it feels a bit too sciencey." Yet again, these people are probably too idiotic to actually understand half the things they're saying. Like, sciencey? Come on! Like, D&D is a fantasy game. Like, I understand, but there's also probably some sci-fi offshoots out there that probably use some of the mechanics in D&D. Like, there's probably a sci-fi tabletop game that uses the word race. None of the actual fans that I know are complaining about this. Like, seriously, this is more of the woke toxic mob on Twitter and Reset Era complaining, and a company being too tone deaf to their own fans to actually understand that these people probably don't buy their products, or probably don't buy many of their products, and just try to latch on to one thing that sticks out in the middle of the road that they see as problematic. But that's the thing. These people themselves are problematic. Like, seriously, you just don't go into a hobby and just want it changed into something entirely different. Like how would you guys feel if someone was to come into your house and just literally take over the place and revamp it into something that they want without considering what you like about your home, and decided to kick you out in the process? This is what this is. And we got another quote right here. "Fun fact," Crawford replied, "the word species has been in use since at least the 14th century, which is in a time period D&D often emulates." Yes. Changing it to species would probably be better in some regards, but at the same time, the word race has been used in so many video games to depict these other species that I don't see this changing without much backlash. Like, sure, you can probably just leave it be and just do some revamping to like focus on family lines or something within that character's background during creation, because I don't see why someone's character who's an orc would actually would actually care about all this race nonsense if they've been playing this game for a long time. Like, come on already. You got to be stupid to think that. Let's continue. People have taken to Reset Air thread linked above to offer their own substitutes, with many players expressing that species does in fact sound a bit too science-oriented. Like, seriously, these are probably the same people that don't even know a lick about science or history, or that all humans are the same race, for crying out loud. Come on, how dumb are these people, right? But none of the of us, we must continue this for your mere entertainment. Or basically information at this point. Ancestry is the best word. The substitute, wrote one user. Good on them in any case. Other suggestions include lineage, kin, folk, and more. The only unanimous consensus appears to be the fact that race needs to go, and it looks like it's going to. But here's the thing, if a lot of longtime fans who are part of the silent majority aren't complaining about it, then why is a company bowing down to the loud minority on social media? Like, it's toxic. Like, companies that listen to the whims and cries of social media eventually find themselves going woke and going broke. And, fans would rather have all this political nonsense out of their games. Like, politics and entertainment rarely mix. Like, if it's a parody on politics, yes, I understand, but seriously, I don't want any real world politics in any form of escapism I get into, whether that be movies, video games, and even books. Because, come on. From what I've heard, D&D has been doing this whole natural diversity thing since, from what I've researched, from 3rd edition via their novels and such. But come on. If you're a fan of D&D and you love playing the game, and you often DM your own homebrew worlds and whatnot, as the DM, you are the one that makes these changes. You don't have to follow what Wizards of the Coast puts out. Besides, probably most of you either play other editions, or you probably play by the 5e rule set, but you heavily homebrew it. Am I right? Like, in your own settings, you get to determine how things are. Like, if you want to use some other mnemonic other than race, go ahead if it's your game, but that's the thing. Most people don't care about the word race in video games and tabletop games, due to the fact that it literally means a different species, which is how I think of the term race. Like, to me, a different race is a sentient species that is different from my own. In other words, if elves and dwarves did exist, I would label them as a different race than human. Because seriously, we already have enough of this nonsense in the real world. Why drag it into entertainment? Yet these people really don't understand that, do they? Oh. Let's finish this off. In related news, Wizards of the Coast is planning 7 or 8 new games for the near future. Well, that's nice and all, but what happens if there's actually a lot of backlash from this change and their sales happen to tank, huh? What if they start losing money over this? What would happen to those 7 or 8 new games then? You gotta consider, like, if you're alienating your fan base, then you could expect to lose a lot of money. It's just how the world of business goes. Like, social media such as Reset Air and Twitter are not the real world. Like, come on. Like, I even have a Twitter account that just advertises videos that I upload to YouTube and BitChute. Like, other than that, it's just a marketing thing for advertising. That's all it should be used as. Other than that, I don't think social media is professional and where professionals should go to gauge their audiences. If Wizards of the Coast was really serious about this stuff, they would survey paying customers on their own site and verify that these people have paid instead of listening to Twitter and Reset Era. Like, come on now. You can't be that foolish now, eh? But I digress. Now, let's see what some of the comments have to say about this. Well, I'm only gonna read so many of them. Yes. This guy right here, Matthew, comments, "The word race isn't a bad word. You dolts, a human and an elf are a different race. Any malice or racism is something you are creating in a game, all about imaginary battles and adventure." Yes, I agree. I agree with this guy. Like, come on. Like, yeah, really have to be really stupid to think that an orc is a stand-in for African Americans and that drow is some form of blackface. Like, come on, people. You can't be that dumb, are ya? Let's see. And there's also a reply to this one. Racial essentialism is and historically has been, though, and that's pretty much the definition of bonuses being tied to race. Like, you gotta consider, it's like more like race equals species in this sort of case. Like sure, the words are interchangeable, but race sort of flows off the tongue better than species in this case. Like seriously, go woke, go broke is what they say. And trust me, I'm a millennial. Let's see what other comments I'm gonna read. I'm not gonna read them all because I'm gonna provide you a link so you can read the article and view the comments yourself. Okay, here's one from Kate Zane. Only if they define the words Dungeons & Dragons fan as someone who watches Critical Role and think that's D&D. Yes. Like, I do enjoy Critical Role, but I was getting interested in D&D before the whole advent of Critical Role. In other words, before I found out about Critical Role. Because that's the thing. People should start using their own brains and realizing that this is make-believe. If you can't separate reality from fiction, then you have mental problems, and I suggest that you see someone about that. And no, ranting on Twitter will only make it worse for you. So please, respect those who have enjoyed this hobby and don't try to wreck it into the ground like you have so many other things, Twitter. Let's see. Another comment from Gago, or I hope I said that right. Reset Era. Well, you see, they are not actually fans of anything. They are just here to be arses to everyone until someone bends at the knees, destroying themselves. Then the arses over at Reset Era selects a new target to destroy. You can't reason with the dolts and simpletons over at Reset Era. They only exist to destroy. Hence, cancel culture. That's what Twitter and this Reset Era are. It's where people probably spend all day online trying to cancel others, trying to ruin their lives and careers, trying to make companies bend over backwards until their needs are met, like some immature children who never grow up. Okay. Here's a few other comments I'm gonna read for you folks. I think ancestry is a good one, but there isn't anything wrong with the word race. I seriously doubt that fans have a problem with it, and if they do, maybe they shouldn't be playing games where you choose what race you are. Well done, well done. I agree with ya. Now let's see, apparently he has a response to people who complain about that aren't fans. Also, if they are, their adventures must be lame. Well, of course. I completely agree with that. Like seriously. People, you gotta realize that Twitter, Reset Era, it's not the real world. Like, seriously, I could go on and on reading these comments right here, but I think you guys can basically figure this stuff out. And like, if you don't like these changes that Wizards of the Coast are making, speak with your wallet. If you're creative and you are a game dev or want to become a game developer like myself, like I do, because trust me, I've went to school to become a game designer, and I gotta save up for grad school before I can do that. But back on topic is that if you are a game developer or want to become a game developer and you're seeing that D&D isn't your thing because they're putting all this woke stuff in it, which I wouldn't blame you guys if you're long-term fans or whatnot, but use this chance to make your own stuff. Like get together with some of your friends, create your own game system and stuff like that. Advertise it on the likes of Indiegogo or Kickstarter or wherever you can, and gather the support of other people who enjoy this type of stuff. Hey, maybe you could actually make an interesting game that uses a D20 system and like cards as a mechanic. Who knows? But I'm gonna read at least a few more comments before signing out on this video. This means they have to come from the same species. Sure, in the real world, but this is D&D where a dragon and a human can have a baby. Also a demon, so can a demon a human, so that would mean demons and dragons are the same species, and that species is human. See how that does not work? That's because D&D is not the real world. it's a work of sword and sorcery fiction. Emphasis on the sorcery. Yes, I actually agree with you. Let's see. Any more that you want to read? Yeah. Race is not ethnicity. Ethnicity is a precise, concurrent scientific term, unlike race, which is used for cultivation of dogs and cats. Like, that's a thing. Like, in D&D, like, getting rid of the word race doesn't make sense. But in the real world, when describing other humans as a different race, yes, get rid of it. Just refer to people as simply humans. Treat them as humans. Don't treat them differently just because of their skin tone is different or whatever. Like, come on, we're all humans for crying out loud. Let's see. I think I may actually be running out of stuff that I'm willing to read off of the comment section, but all in all, like, as you guys can see, like, this crap that's going on with cancel culture and stuff like that is so ridiculous. Like, come on. Sometimes you gotta realize that no one's gonna listen to these people within the next 10 years after 2020. Like, no one wants to hear someone complain hear people say, "Wow, you're racist, yay!" Seriously, no one's gonna want to hear that. Like, it's utterly annoying, and seriously, people like that are probably gonna wind up not getting very far in life if all they do is spend time on social media. Well, thank you everybody for watching this video. I'm Zachary Gedzinski, the host of Zen Variety, and I really do hope that you actually not only watch this, but also like and subscribe and tell your friends about all this nonsense that's going on. Like, we the people have to make a stand to actually fight against wokeness. Thank you, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!